and those who now are gone, younger hands will take our work and carry on. So today, both symbolically and actually, I'd like to pass the microphone to one of the younger hands who carries on the work of earlier generations, one of the founders of Occupy Santa Rosa, Carol Averill, who will be our MC for the afternoon.
How about that Michael Bloomberg backing down from Occupy Wall Street? What do you think? Yeah? Okay. One thing that kind of hit me was that the occupiers were cleaning their own stuff. And I urge you all to keep this clean and clean up after yourselves, because we don't want to leave any footprint on this event, except for the social movement. Thank you. I would like to thank the organizers of Occupy Santa Rosa and Occupy Wall Street. They asked their names to be kept private to not detract from the 99% in this movement. Okay. So thank you. Thank you, organizers. Now, I want to try a little experiment here, and I hope you can participate. I'd like you to raise your hand if you know somebody who is unemployed right now. Holy crap. This is going to be easy. I apologize. Okay. Keep your hands up, guys. Keep your hands up. I'm included in that. Okay? Now raise your hand if you know someone whose home is foreclosed. Okay. There's still a couple people with their hands down. Keep your hands up, please. Raise your hand if you know someone whose business has closed in the past 5 years. Even more. Have high medical debt or large amounts of school debt. Okay, okay. Raise your hand if you want a job on this soil to pay off your debts. Okay, I see a lot of you. Anyone have their hand down? Probably not. Keep your hands up. Raise your hand if you're part of the 99%. Now I'd like to introduce our first speaker. Her name is Lisa Maldonado. She is the Executive Director of the North Bay Labor Council. Please welcome Lisa.
Thank you. Thank you. Woo! You guys fired up? Yeah. You look beautiful. I bring you greetings and solidarity from the 70,000 workers and their families at the North Bay CLC, Central Labor Council, and the CIO. I know the California nurses are here. SEIU 10-1 is here. We owe you a huge debt of gratitude because we have been trying to focus on Wall Street. We have been trying to focus on the theft and the robbery of all of us and this huge social inequality for the last 10 years, but especially for the last 5 years. We're all clear who tanked our economy. It wasn't public workers, it wasn't public safety workers, it was Wall Street. Those people have tanked our economy and it is up to them to fix it. We are tired of the politics as usual that give a bailout to Wall Street and nothing to Main Street. And so we thank all of you who came out here. We know how much work it went to make this happen, and we also know how much work inside of each person to get here. I was speaking with a student of political science at Sonoma State, and he actually told me that the definition of working class for the purposes of Sonoma State students is anyone who would not be able to live past 3 months without a job unless they got on unemployment, okay? We are all working class now. One of the things that Wall Street has done with this huge and massive maldistribution of wealth is create a stronger and more vibrant and more together working class. And you are all part of that today. I am one of those folks living paycheck to paycheck with over $90,000 in student loans. And my boyfriend reminds me I could make so much more money as a lawyer if I actually practiced. But I want to say the reason that I stay with the workers and with the unions and with the AFL is because the only reason I made it to become an attorney is because of unions. My father came here, thank you. My father came here from Mexico as a small boy. He was 12, he came with his uncles. He came across the desert, and he told me stories when I was younger of how they almost died in the desert. They didn't have enough water. They were dying of thirst, hallucinating when the immigration found them. And they were never so glad to see immigration as then. And my father came illegally. He came legally. He was a member of the Bracero program, which she's never spoken about because I think it was so upsetting to him personally. He came here, he worked in the fields in Watsonville and Salinas. When he became a Teamster, my grandpa got him first into the laborers movement, then into the Teamsters Union. He drove a water truck, all right, Teamsters in the house, and our family's life changed. My brother and I got health care at Kaiser for the first time. We were able to go to school. My parents bought a house. In one generation, my father, who has a third grade education, made it into the middle class. Everybody deserves that, okay? Everybody deserves that in this country. What we're asking for, it's not socialism, it's not communism or communitarianism, as the Tea Partiers like to call it. What we want is basic decency and fairness. We want a dignified old age. We want a fair day's pay for a fair day's work. And we're tired of being robbed by the rich. You know what? It's fine if people want to make a buck. We believe that's okay. But the greed, the avarice, the huge disparity, it can't last anymore. We're done. Ya basta, as we say in Spanish. So I want to thank you guys. I want to encourage all of you to join with labor. Go to the CNA website. CNA is asking for a tax on Wall Street so that we can pay for all the services we use, for public schools, for community colleges, for all the things that go to get people into the middle class, and for the jobs we need so desperately. Thank you, and we're happy to be here in the struggle with you. Thank you.
It's me again. Can you hear me? Yes. You can hear me? Yes. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. Our next guest, thank you, Lisa Maldonado. Let's give her a round of applause. Ben Boyce is a labor rights and social justice advocate from Sonoma and coordinator of the Accountable Development Coalition. Please give him a round of applause.
Brothers and sisters, welcome to Liberty Plaza, California. I am so happy to see all of you out here. At my age, I am so glad to see all the young people come out. I've been waiting for you. Thank God you've arrived. We need a relay here. Thank you. So, what brings us at this historical moment, to this time, is that an awakening is happening in the American public where they're recognizing that we have actually been subjected to a corporate coup. Our media only represents the point of view that is acceptable to the plutocracy, to the 1%. We can't even have a discussion of the issues that would actually help build the middle class and to address this crisis we're in. We're in a desperate situation. Everyone we know is either knows someone who's been jobless or has been foreclosed, families are cut adrift, they're afraid, they don't know where to turn, and there's no remedy coming. And we've got to remember how this started. Okay, 30 years back, there was a drive to deregulate the financial sector. The Greenspan era, this unregulated greed fest went on for 30 years until finally we had hollowed out the conditions for working class and middle class people to the point where the system collapsed because people couldn't pay back their debts to make up the difference in their wages. So what happened then? Act 2. The American people, through our government, through the taxpayers, backstopped their losses 100% on the dollar. They're not going to take a haircut. With their intact fortunes in Act 3, they turn around on us and refuse to offer what would help out the people who are paying them back. They refuse to take on even the mildest of regulations. And they're now funding politicians to demolish the few mild regulations that have been put in place. People are outraged, and I'm outraged. So the mainstream media puts out that these people, that's just this, they're angry, they don't know where they're going. Look, we've had years and years of policy platforms and plans, and the fact of the matter is that nothing that's outside of the preferences of the investor class gets any play in the mainstream media, nor is it politically acceptable. So that's the situation. That's why we have to take to the streets. We have no other avenue. But for the benefit of the Press Democrat and the mainstream media, I'll just give you what my affinity group has come up with. These are change that we can believe in. Number one, we need a moratorium on foreclosures. We've got to stop getting people out of their houses. Keep neighborhoods intact. It's not helping. It's driving housing prices down. Number two, end the Bush tax cuts. This is insane. Stop it. Establish a financial transaction tax to pay for the social services, the teachers, nurses, firefighters that help protect us, that are the backbone of the middle class. And then finally, we need to have a national jobs program. My belief, the kind of America I want to live in, if you want a job, you will have a job. There is so much work to be done in the environment and taking care of children and teaching. Let's get it going here. So I think today we should say today is, I have a sign out here. This is the tipping point. It's gone far enough. It's now time to retake our democracy, reestablish ourselves as a citizenry, not as consumers, where they're buying our politics for us. We're taking it back. Thank you very much.
Just like it was in the early 30s, late 20s. Gave everybody jobs.
Not late 20s though.
Okay. All right, everybody, mic check.
Mic check.
Yep.
Mic check. Okay, let's give Ben Boyce a round of applause. That was beautiful. Our next guest is Cynthia Boaz. She's an assistant professor of political science at Sonoma State University and an authority on nonviolent direct action. Please welcome Cynthia.
All right, thank you so much. I'm a teacher, so I need my notes. So I don't, thank you, I do too. So I don't think I'm going to say anything here right now that all of you don't know, but I'm going to say it anyway. No system of injustice can be sustained without the consent of the people, whether it's explicit or tacit. What this emerging 99% movement is demonstrating above all else is that people have become conscious of that fact and are making the statement publicly that they're going to withdraw their consent for the status quo. Simply acknowledging the lie that the system is fair or just or democratic is a powerful first step in dismantling it. And I want to share with you a quote, one of my favorite quotes about the individual citizen's role in this process of withdrawing consent. It's from Václav Havel. He says, "By breaking the rules of the game, the dissident has shattered the world of appearances, the fundamental pillar of the system. He has upset the power structure. He has broken through the exalted facade of the system. He has shown everyone that it's possible to live within the truth. Living within the lie can only constitute the system if it's universal. And there are no terms whatsoever on which the lie can coexist with living the truth. And therefore, everyone who steps out of line denies it in principle and threatens it in its entirety." So just a little heads up, you're all dissidents. You're exposing the lie, and you're making it that much harder for the status quo, the 1%, to sell it. But no system is threatened simply by protests. So we have to think strategically about our vision for the future, the alternative that has to be offered in exchange for the status quo. While the spread of these protests shows that a vast proportion of the American people have had enough of financial corruption and the use of taxpayers' money to prevent banks from paying the cost of that corruption, I would argue that there are two things that need to happen now to make this larger than a nationwide venting of anger. We have to identify real potential change in the political system. For example, preventing corporate and financial industry control of both Democrats and Republican members of Congress. Always cave to industry pressure, and we must organize on behalf of these changes a movement that engages in a number of different nonviolent tactics, such as boycotts, strikes, blockades, and other ways of raising the social, economic, and psychological costs of business as usual for industry and political interests who resist change. And second, and I know this is happening here, we have to devote our time to political organizing at the local level. We have to study how folks like James Lawson from the Civil Rights Movement organized occupations to fight segregation, and to develop substantive goals as well as long-term strategy and tactical plans for increasing the pressure on banks, corporations, and politicians who are content to leave the system as it is. The 1% can no longer deny that the 99% now knows where the real power lies. With the people and with your ability to withdraw your consent. And that makes you a threat. My advice is to use that power wisely and strategically. Don't descend into the anger and marginalization of your neighbors and friends along the model of the Tea Party. Take the advice of Martin Luther King, who said that during the Civil Rights era they harnessed anger and released it under discipline for maximum effect. So, harness your anger and be disciplined in how you press your grievances, because in the face of a focused, organized, and disciplined movement with truth on its side, this victory is inevitable. Thank
you. Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you. Okay, next is David Cardenas, is the organizer for the North Bay Organizing Project. David.
All right.
Welcome.
If we could start by just having people look around and give yourselves a big ol' applause, high fives, hugs, Fred Ross, an old school organizer in California across the country, used to say that organizers and organizations are like social arsonists who go around setting the people on fire. And it seems like things are starting to heat up around here, which is really gorgeous to see. Now, I was asked to speak, and I said I don't know how much I can say, but I wanted to read a little piece that I wrote. It says, let us imagine that destiny is a big old piece of Play-Doh that we can shape, hold, mold, and control. Let us think that history is a big book to be written and not read, because we need these breathing examples of movements that matter, and masses that battle, and worlds that are shaken, and souls that awaken, and power that's won, and love that's made, and cumbias that are danced, and heroes that are created every day as we wake up and look in the mirror and step into the new day. The right to rebel is a sacred act. Whether you're a Tzotzil Indian in Chiapas, Mexico, or a union carpenter in Santa Rosa, California. Whether you're a teacher teaching the youth of America or an indebted student, the right to rebel is absolutely sacred. Now I'm gonna imagine that we're here not because only we have solidarity with people on the protesters on Wall Street. I'm imagining we also have a stake in this fight. Am I right? Liberty, justice, everything has to be on the table, but we have to be able to declare it ourselves. Why are we here? What's in our gut? And when we discover what's in our gut, what makes us want to struggle, are we courageous enough to turn around and look at somebody who doesn't look like us, but is in the struggle as well, every day that we're going to be working and organizing? Now, Wall Street, the Wall Street bankers do not surprise me. They piss me off, but they don't surprise me. We're talking about Wall Street, the one street in America that was named to enslave slaves, right? To make sure there was a slave market where slaves couldn't escape over the wall. Wall Street. 20,000 Africans are supposed to be buried under that financial district. This is the roots of global capitalism. It doesn't surprise me what's happening today. What surprises me is what am I willing to do about it? Am I willing to fall into a slumber and let it go? Are we as a collective willing to let this go untouched? Absolutely not. So our response needs to be dignified, powerful, collective. We do organizing. We organize and make sure people are willing to get theirs here in America. But I want to make it clear, this is 99% of the country we're talking about. It's also 99% of the world. To be very clear, this is 99% of the world. If we think we are not connected to the struggles in Mexico, Chile, Africa, Asia, we're missing the point. This is a global capitalism. This is a global struggle. So we have shared stories, we have shared histories, and we have shared struggles. And we got to engage with each other in that. We are, the North Bay Organizing Project has 15 institutions organized across racial lines, class lines, middle class, working class, Latinos, immigrants, Anglos, churchgoers, everyone.
Okay, great. Things are coming together, you guys. People are finding each other. Woo! Okay. Next, let's thank David Cardenas. Davin Cardenas. I butchered your name, Davin. I'm sorry. Davin! Come on, guys. Come on.
Let's say, I want to start out by just maybe having a moment of shouting, not silence, for our comrades around the world who are in the streets by the tens and the hundreds of thousands. Over 1,000 cities around the world are joining us today for a global day of action. So why are we doing that? Why is there so many people pissed off? It's not just by coincidence. There's a reason we're out here today. It's already been said by some of my friends that came before me, but there's a reason we're out here today.
We're mad as hell.
There we go. We are taking back the future. The reason we're out here today, the reason why all of you are pissed off is because we've been robbed, okay? We've been robbed. There's no other way to put that. We've been robbed. Lots of things have been robbed for us. Our jobs, our pensions, our student loans, our futures, our wages have been robbed to make a very small minority of people very rich. Okay? So what do you do when you've been robbed? If someone breaks in your house tonight and steals your TV and steals your bed and steals your food and steals your refrigerator, what do you do to those people? Yeah, you don't go up to them and you don't negotiate and you say, please give me half of my stuff back, okay? You say, give me my stuff back, that's my stuff, I have a right to it. You don't come into my house and take my stuff, you know, just so you can be richer, okay? We don't do that. We're not going to negotiate for some of our stuff back. We want it all back. We do the work. We make the wealth. They take it. They sit on their asses and they don't do anything. These people that sit in these corporate offices, the CEOs, the financial leaders of this country don't make a single thing that's worth having in this country. They don't do a single hour of work in their whole entire lives. And we have to pay for it. We pay for their lifestyle, okay? So that can't go on anymore. We're not going to fight for it. People's mic. Well, okay. Can I keep going? Sorry. I'm trying to yell. So.
People's mic. You're okay.
Okay. Well, let's. I mean, we got people having fun over there. Okay. We'll do that later. I'm sorry. So, all right.